There are many cultures with peculiar traditions, but there is an almost uninhabited place with an extreme climate where faithfulness is rare and where an unusual practice is believed to have survived for centuries: wife swapping. This place is known as the home of raw meat eaters and is perhaps the saddest and emptiest region on the planet, but it is also one of the most beautiful corners of the planet because it contains breathtaking landscapes that have always remained unchanged. Don't miss this new Uncensored World video to learn about Greenland as you've never seen it before. A place with extraordinary curiosities such as no roads between cities, icebergs as tall as skyscrapers, and being the largest island, but also one of the least inhabited places in the world. Moreover, Greenland was originally a tourist destination for the Vikings, similar to what the Maldives are to many today, and its strange name has much to do with this ancient history. Pay attention, because we assure you that everything in this video will surprise you. Let's get started. Although many people don't know it, Greenland is the largest island in the world, a region so vast that if we added up the territories of France, Great Britain, Spain, Italy, Germany, Austria, Belgium, and Switzerland, we would get its size. This huge ice island is located in the Arctic region of northeastern North America, between the Atlantic Ocean and the Arctic Ocean. A place as strange as the origin of its name, since this huge ice region has little to do with the meaning of its name. The name Greenland comes from Old Norse and means green land. However, this name is ironic, since most of Greenland is covered by ice and snow. It is believed that at the time it was settled by the Vikings. More than 1,000 years ago, the southwest coast of the island was greener and more inhabited. Greenland could have been seen as an attractive destination for the Vikings of the time, similar to what the Maldives is today for tourists. With its greener and more habitable southwest coast, Eric the Red may have used the name Greenland as a marketing strategy to attract more settlers, presenting the island as a prosperous and fertile place. However, the reality was that most of the island was covered with ice and snow, which eventually led to the disappearance of the Viking colonies due to harsh weather conditions. But although more white than green, this place is truly a unique world, with breathtaking landscapes that have remained virtually untouched since their origins. Greenland is one of the most inhospitable places on the planet, where for much of the year the land remains frozen and with little sunlight. During the summer, however, amazing changes occur, with exceptionally high brightness due to the vast areas covered by ice and the absence of trees. With an area larger than Mexico, it is the largest island in terms of land area. But nearly 80% of Greenland is covered by ice, so almost the entire population is concentrated in the south, the only habitable area. Despite its size, it is one of the least densely populated places on the planet with only 57,000 inhabitants, most of them concentrated in its capital, Nuuk, in the south of the island. The vast majority of Greenland's population, over 88%, is made up of Inuit, an Eskimo ethnic group that came to the island from Alaska and Siberia thousands of years ago. The rest of the population is made up of people of European descent, mainly Danes because, surprisingly, Greenland is part of the Kingdom of Denmark and not the United States or Russia, as is often thought. The word Eskimo or Eskimo is a term whose origin may seem derogatory, as it literally means raw meat eaters. This is why the vast population of Greenland is called Inuit, which means nothing more than person in the Eskimo language. This is an amazing fact, because even though we all think of Inuit as living in regions like Alaska or Greenland, the reality is that both you who are watching this video and I who am watching this video are Inuit. An Inuit who I hope is already subscribed to our Uncensored World channel because, as you can see, you can learn about the world here like nowhere else. Because of this Inuit majority, although Danish is the official language, most of the Greenlandic population speaks Greenlandic, which is an Inuit language. Inuit also derive from the Eskimos of Central Asia. According to anthropological theories, they crossed the last ice age, thousands of years ago, and settled from Alaska to Greenland, giving rise to several cultures. The term Eskimo comes from the fact that, in their environment, they did not have access to firewood, and instead of using the blubber of whales and seals as fuel, they used it as food. Raw meat was therefore an important part of their diet. Even today, many Inuit continue to eat raw meat, a tradition that persists from ancient times and may surprise those unfamiliar with the culture. In Greenland, an ancient cultural practice that is quite peculiar to many, especially foreigners, is wife swapping, known locally as tususisut. Although this custom is neither widespread nor very common in Greenlandic society today, there are still rumors that this practice is still alive and well in some communities. This exchange is not permanent, but rather a symbolic gesture that strengthens social ties between families and communities. It is believed that such practices and traditions have much to do with the low population density, scarcity of resources, and inhospitable nature of places like Greenland, as such actions may be strategies to promote race and species survival in such a harsh environment. In addition to wife swapping, it is common for Inuit couples to share lodging with relatives and friends, a testament to the importance of solidarity and mutual support in Inuit culture. An even more surprising tradition of wife swapping, also practiced in places like Alaska, is that Inuit give away their wives to tourists or newcomers with their consent. As with wife swapping, this practice is not so common nowadays, although it is important to know that, if it were to happen, refusing this gift would be frowned upon by the Inuit and could lead to serious problems. So, never say never to this reality should you experience it, even though it will be easy for you not to, because this word, never, does not exist in Greenland, but it is called tulukat kakortipata, a term that would mean when crows turn white, something that, as you can imagine, is impossible, but not so much in places like Greenland, where everything is covered in white. In Greenland, this saying takes on its full meaning, especially when it comes to driving. The lack of roads between cities makes land transportation virtually impossible, relegating air and sea as the primary means of transportation. Helicopters, boats, and planes are far more common than cars or buses. However, the real hero of transportation on this vast island is the sled. With most of the terrain covered with ice and snow, dog sleds or snowmobiles become the preferred option for moving between towns and villages. Dog sleds, powered by hardy breeds such as Greenland Huskies and Alaskan Malamutes, are the most traditional and efficient way to get around here. Travelers carry essential supplies with them, as they may spend several days along the route. Sledding tournaments and races are popular events, not only as entertainment, but also as a celebration of Greenland's rich culture and tradition, in which competitors demonstrate their skills on the difficult Arctic terrain. One thing that makes Greenland unique, besides everything else you are learning about, is the wide variety of breathtaking landscapes that captivate visitors. This huge island is home to the largest icebergs in the world. These icebergs are formed by glaciers and are as tall as buildings of more than 15 stories. And we should not forget that what we see from the surface is only 10% of their actual size. So these huge icebergs could be as big as the tallest skyscrapers in New York City. Another unique curiosity about Greenland is that this huge island is home to the world's most enormous icebergs. These icebergs are formed by glaciers and are as tall as buildings of over 15 stories. And we should not forget that what we see from the surface is only 10% of their actual size. So these huge icebergs could be as big as the tallest skyscrapers in New York City. The best place to see these icebergs is in the Ilulissat region, where the concentration is highest. The best way to admire them is by kayak or boat, and oddly enough, there are excursions to observe them even while diving. The Ilulissat Ice Fjord, recognized as a UNESCO World Heritage Site, is the place to see these majestic icebergs calving off the Cermak-Kujalik Glacier. These huge ice masses are part of Greenland's vast ice expanse, which covers more than 1.7 million square kilometers, and after Antarctica, is the largest ice surface in the world. Thinking about trivia, you will probably find this fact surprising. And the fact is that, taking into account the huge ice area of Greenland and Antarctica, these two places contain 98% of the planet's freshwater reserves, which means that the future of humanity, and even more so considering the serious problems derived from global warming, lies in these two vast ice regions. It is estimated that if all the ice on this large island near the North Pole were to melt, the sea level would rise up to 7 meters, causing the disappearance of many islands and places on the planet. For years, you have surely heard the pessimistic news about the melting of the poles, and unfortunately, this fact is a frightening reality for scientists and for much of the world. About 29,000 square kilometers of the Greenland ice sheet and glaciers have melted, an area comparable to the size of Albania or larger than Massachusetts in the United States. This dramatic loss, about 2% of all Greenland's ice, is one of the most alarming evidences of the serious problems resulting from global climate change. Another unique wonder of this place is whale watching. Up to 15 species of whales can be seen in Greenland waters, depending on the region and time of year. Minke and humpback whales are among the most common, and the best time to see them is summer, in an area known as Disco Bay, near Ilulissat, another popular destination for iceberg and whale watching during the summer months. In addition, the capital, Nuuk, combines urban life with Arctic beauty, offering museums and art galleries that reflect the rich Inuit culture. In addition, this island is one of the best places in the world to see the northern lights. Due to its location near the Arctic Circle, the island experiences dark nights during winter, creating the best conditions in the world for observing this phenomenon. In many places, especially in the north, it is possible to see the northern lights almost every night during the aurora season, which runs from September to April. During these winter months, particularly in the north, Greenland experiences periods of continuous darkness known as polar nights, in which the sun remains hidden 24 hours a day. On the other hand, in summer, especially in the south, there are periods of continuous light called polar days, in which the sun does not set all day for months at a time. These extreme phenomena of light and darkness are distinctive features of the Arctic and Antarctic latitudes and have much to do with the fact that, along with the harsh climatic conditions and inhospitable nature of the place, Greenland is also considered one of the saddest places in the world for its inhabitants. It is believed that polar nights and polar days can have a significant impact on the mental health of people living in this region, as extreme changes in natural light can lead to mood disorders such as depression and anxiety. With this in mind, we took this opportunity to ask, do you think you might live in this icy region? And do you think these polar nights might affect you? Pause the video and leave us a comment. This is the best way to help us keep working to bring you videos like this, helping others learn more about the world around us as well. So thank you. Whether you like living in Greenland or not, it is good to know that many of its inhabitants, even today, in the 21st century, live in igloos. Although traditional igloo construction is not widespread nowadays, as most people live in conventional houses or modern buildings made of more durable materials, such as wood, concrete, and metal, which provide a more stable and comfortable shelter to cope with the harsh Arctic weather conditions. However, in some remote areas of Greenland, it is still possible to find igloos, especially in more traditional communities or during expeditions in the interior of the country. These igloos are temporary structures built of compacted snow blocks that are cut and stacked to form a dome. Although it may seem strange that they are made of ice, the unique design of igloos helps retain body heat inside, creating a relatively warm shelter compared to the frozen outside. Snow has natural insulating properties that help retain body heat, while the rounded shape of igloos minimizes heat loss and prevents snow from accumulating on the roof. Despite their simple appearance, igloos are an impressive demonstration of the engineering and traditional knowledge of Eskimo communities to adapt and survive in extreme environments. Despite the harsh climate and living conditions, Greenland is home to an amazing variety of wildlife, including polar bears, whales, seals, reindeer, and migratory birds. Speaking of polar bears, Greenland has the largest number of polar bears on the planet, as they are native to this region. In this regard, another interesting aspect of Greenlandic culture is the so-called polar bear plunge, or polar bear baptism, a tradition in which people plunge into icy waters, often in swimsuits, as a way to celebrate the new year or to mark special events. Although this practice may seem extreme, it is a demonstration of the resilience and community spirit of the people of Greenland, as well as a way to connect with nature and celebrate life in such a harsh environment. Greenland is also known, unfortunately, for whaling, a practice that, although it has declined in recent years, is still important to some Greenlandic communities in terms of culture and livelihood. Whale blubber has long been a vital component of the diet and survival of Inuit communities in Greenland, providing a rich source of nutrients and calories needed to cope with the harsh conditions of the Arctic. Despite the decline of whaling, it remains a fundamental pillar of the cultural and economic identity of these communities. Unlike much of the rest of the world where whaling is taboo, it is practiced here in a traditional and sustainable manner, primarily for local consumption. Although regulations and practices have been introduced to ensure its sustainability, whaling remains an activity rooted in Greenland life and history. Thinking about how inhospitable and harsh Greenland is, it is good to know that one of the coldest places in the world is located here, known as Summit Camp, where temperatures can drop below 50 degrees Celsius during the winter. Summit Camp is a scientific research station located in the central part of the Greenland ice sheet, about 250 meters above sea level. It is operated by the Institute of Arctic and Antarctic Studies, INSTAR, of the University of Colorado at Boulder, USA. This camp was created to study the climate, atmosphere, and ice of Greenland, and is one of the highest and coldest inhabited places in the world. The extremely low temperatures and harsh weather conditions at Summit Camp make it a challenging and optimal environment for scientific research. We cannot end this trip to Greenland without helping you understand how to visit this incredible place. Travel to Greenland generally involves flying from various points in Europe or from Iceland. The main airports of entry are Kangerlussuaq International Airport on Greenland's west coast and Nuuk Airport in the capital. Domestic flights from Kangerlussuaq connect other towns and villages on the island, while Nuuk can be reached from other European countries. It is important to note that domestic flights may be subject to cancellations or delays due to extreme weather conditions and lack of infrastructure in some areas. Another aspect to consider is the travel season. Most tourists visit Greenland during the summer months, June through August, when temperatures are milder and days are longer. During the winter, weather conditions are much harsher, with short days, extremely cold temperatures, and little availability of tourist activities. In addition, Greenland is known to have one of the most dangerous airports in the world because of its location. Narsarsuaq International Airport, located in southern Greenland, is considered one of the most dangerous airports due to its location in a narrow fjord and difficult weather conditions that can include high winds and dense fog. However, with time and care, a trip to Greenland can be an exciting and once-in-a-lifetime experience for anyone. We hope you enjoyed learning about Greenland with us and that you enjoyed it as much as we did. If so, the best way to help us is to leave us a nice like and comment, and join the uncensored world if you haven't already done so. And now, don't miss the video following this one to continue discovering the world with different eyes. Click on it, you will love it.